Hello class, and I hope that you are enjoying Hybrid Week. I am checking in with you after I finished grading the Application 5 Formative and Process Evaluation discussion boards. I spent about 6 hours today on one sections just to give you an idea of how much I really do delve into those discussions and enjoy reading them. And I did post on quite a few of your posts, and you each have feedback, at least to a certain degree, unless you got 15 out of 15 and I didn't feel as if feedback was necessary. You would have feedback in either one place or another, though, either a response to posts within the discussion board and slash or in most cases both, also in your grade itself. I really enjoyed reading your post and your replies to one another this week. I think that this discussion board was a little bit tricky because formative and process evaluations do share some overlap, and also because of their diverse nature. I'm going to read one of my favorite of your descriptions of a process evaluation in answer of number 1, just to remind us what a process evaluation is. They're used to describe a program, monitor a program, and test for quality assurance. Process evaluations are concerned with what a program does, how it does it, and how well they do it. Process evaluations are utilized to help replicate programs so that agencies have an understanding of what to expect when implementing this new program. Process evaluations are also used to be sure that programs are meeting their intended outcomes and serving the targeted population the program was created for, and if not, why. Process evaluators can analyze many different aspects of a program or agency, such as client socio-demographic characteristics, type and amount of services received, client satisfaction data, staff characteristics, program manuals and protocols, amount of training provided. I would add to that type of training provided or quality of training provided, if staff are implementing the program properly, and much more to describe how or discover if a program or agency is providing effective services to the targeted population. And then, of course, Royce et al. 2010 are cited, and I'd have to go back to the book to see if that's a direct paragraph. Out of Royce. I would hope there'd be quotations if that's the case, but that was a really good, thorough description, and also clearly communicates how much diversity there can be seen within various process evaluations. So you can hear my dog in the background. See the lovely context of a hybrid week. I'm recording this at 6:25 at night in the comfort of my home with my 2 poodles in the background. So meet Macon Rueda here. Let me see if there's a pause button on this. Okay, so I found the pause button and I'm back after calming my dogs down. So I'm also wanting to draw your attention to just a few articles that were attached to your posts that I felt were particularly helpful. One of the articles is this, the process evaluation of community-based mental health promotion intervention for refugee children. And why I'm choosing to highlight this article is because I felt that it did a really nice job of describing some of the types of process indicators that you wouldn't necessarily think of as writing it up in an article, but that are so critical to process evaluation work. So here in the abstract right away, they talk about findings indicating that attendance rates. They also look at session objectives and activities that were completed, and whether these activities were reported to be implemented fully as planned. And they also then, so that last one's not so much of a surprise with the process objective or a process related question. They also look at children indicating high satisfaction with sessions. They have a research question here too, looking at context and challenges to implementing the intervention. So this article does a nice job of asking multiple related process-oriented research questions and tying each of those to, ultimately to how they can more successfully implement the program. So I'd recommend checking out this article. It's now under your Dr. R's helpful resource folder. You'd have to go to the additional readings and tools and then, or additional recommended readings, and then to the process evaluation folder. So it's there. Just looking at my notes on that. I just wanted to also point out, they say that they conclude their abstract with the sentence stating, let me go back down here, findings from I think they mean this process of evaluation will strengthen interpretation of impact evaluation results. So they're saying, subsequently they would want to conduct a impact evaluation, or what we would term in this class an outcome evaluation. And as we talked about in class last week, we could conduct an outcome evaluation and perhaps find that a program worked or that it didn't work or somewhere in between, but without a process evaluation, we would have little insight into why it worked or why we found the results that we did. So it strengthens our interpretation of our impact evaluation. So outcome studies sometimes stand alone, sometimes outcomes are included as part of a process evaluation, but this is a good article to check out. Also, since I brought up last week and actually a few weeks into the class, moderators and mediators as an important term to be familiar with statistically, in evaluation terms, we're really interested in moderators and mediators as part of our logic model. So mediators, another way to think about that, are our intermediate outcome objectives, or in simplistic terms, that B in the A to B to C equation. So what are those targeted variables that we think are going to produce important changes in the community or in our clients' lives? And of course, those are important because those are what we're hoping to, what we need to evaluate. We would expect, for example, that substance abuse treatment would be associated with reduced substance abuse. In this case, we would want to measure both. However, for a moderator, it would be the to whom or for whom. So perhaps certain age groups respond better to substance abuse treatment than others, or certain ethnicities. So although I think that this article is a little bit it's a little bit deep in terms of when we actually get to the statistical piece. I think you're close to being there in terms of being able to run these kinds of analyses, but you would probably want to consult with a statistical consultant, or contact me if you want to run these analyses. But the data you would know how to collect, and you would know how to put this study together, and that's the most important thing, because you can always call up a stats consultant. I have numerous people that you could call up, and services even, that's what they do all day, every day. So I never want that piece to deter anyone from doing the kind of important evaluative work that needs to be done. Also, this week we learned about the really important qualitative component that many of you expressed you felt comfortable doing too. So that's fantastic. But this article still, I think it's a great article for you to read in its entirety. It's a social work article, which is fantastic because it actually posits moderators and mediators. I really can't say that word on this video. In terms of their social work applicability. And, ultimately just keeping in mind that mediators are those variables that, yes, you would expect to produce certain results. So you would want to measure those as part of your evaluation work. I think that reading this article will really help you to contextualize and to be able to utilize and understand various terms that are really important for evaluative research. And you should come out with a master's degree understanding what a moderator and a mediator is at minimum. So check this article out. It's now in the additional resources folder as well. Finally, let's see. Yep, this is the process evaluation folder. I just wanted to point you to another article I also put in. This is another one that one of you found. This is it right here. And just as a final point, in terms of another article I felt was worth checking out if you didn't get a chance to look at it, is this one by Mendenhall and, oh gosh, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, Fraunholtz. And what I liked about this one is, as I mentioned, there are various different forms that a process evaluation can take. This one used a mixed methods approach, which many of you picked up on this week's discussion board, is often the best way to go if you have the resources to do so. You're able to actually determine objective indicators of change while also understanding the context and reasons behind those objective indicators. So this is a good one to check out. They used qualitative stakeholder interviews and quantitative survey components. They also, what I liked about this is they talk about a shared vision and collaboration and sustainability concerns. So some things that are really important in context of social work and evaluation. The shared vision, piece being important, going all the way back to week 1 when we're looking at vision and mission. And then, of course, when you're doing your competency assignment, be thinking about mixed methods and looking to some of these articles and how they did these kinds of things. So my favorite quote out of your reflections, there were a few, so I'm just going to grab one, is, I must admit I used to believe that my hatred of math and statistics would hinder my ability to complete an evaluation. However, after this assignment, I've realized that individuals can be pretty creative in completing a formative or process evaluation, and we don't always have to be so cookie cutter. So I'll leave you with that. Let me know if you have any questions after having done this discussion board. I look forward to our final presentations from those groups as well that are doing this type of vignette, and subsequently to reading your single case design discussion boards. If you have questions on where you lost points, you can shoot me an email. Like I said, I did include comments for most of you if you did lose some points somewhere. Also look to where I put things like great job or positive feedback within the discussion board itself, because I'm really highlighting exemplary posts. Let me see if I have anything else in my notes to share with you. Oh, just a final point. This is just a minor note that has more to do with writing well, and it carries over to any writing, and especially looking at your competency assignment too. Be careful in how you use quotes. Don't use them unnecessarily. So if you can put things in your own words, do that. There was someone who had analogized a process evaluation to the human body, and that was really neat. I'm really just looking for you guys to put things in your own words and to grapple with the concepts and try to understand them and communicate that with classmates, not to impress with your replication of quotes from the reading. So and then also just, that's important in writing well anyway. We want to just pull out quotes that are saying something that we couldn't say in the same way. So, of course, paraphrase and cite appropriately. So, anyway, have a great week, and thanks for listening.